Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.
Bicentennial celebrations continue across the state.
But Hoosier pioneers are not just a thing of the past. Meet an Indiana artisan who has gained national attention for his creations. Explore the legacy of one of Indiana's most famous gun makers. Discover an adventurer putting the state's largest cave system on the map. And welcome blues duo Andra Faye and Scott Ballantine. See how your Indiana neighbors continue to shape the state.
In stories you'll see only right here on the weekly special.
Welcome to the weekly special. I'm Erica Sagone.
And I'm Daryl Neer. Even as we celebrate Indiana's bicentennial, history is still being made across the state.
And Hoosiers are still pioneering new paths. After 20 years as a welder, Batesville resident Chaz Kaiser turned his passion into a full-time occupation.
If I get a commission where I need to do a countertop or tabletop or range hood, I'll take sheet metal, copper, perfectly flat, clean and straight, and this little contraption I built here is what puts all the hammered marks in to make it look old and a little more textured. This is something you can't buy. I made it. It just makes the process go a whole lot quicker and easier as opposed to having to hold the hammer all day long.
Been doing metal sculpture for about 35 years. I started because I like to build things and make things and play. Once I get the sheet of copper hammered to the texture that I want, then we have to anneal it. To anneal it, you got to use a lot of heat, and we'll do it in a section at a time, and it'll bring up colors in the copper. Each color represents a temperature, and the thing is, if you try for a specific color, you want a specific color, whether it's the purple, the blue, the yellow, the green, whatever. If you want that color, once you achieve that color, it's too late. It's going to continue to get hot, and that color is going to go away. So you have to anticipate that color that you might want. Now that I've heated the copper, I have to cool it to get the carbon off. And once it's done, it'll be nice and soft again.
The Scavestern Gallery of Art in Oldenburg, Indiana is a great place to visit to see various pieces of art that Chaz has completed.
I have quite an array of things that I have done. I've built large fountains, bronze fountains for a rising sun. It's 14 feet tall, stainless steel inner structure. A finish that you can do on copper, if you live in a place like I live and it doesn't turn green and you want it to, the old coppersmiths had a method of doing that overnight with different kinds of urine from different animals. And I do repoussé, which is what I currently do mostly. It's just the art of manipulating metal, bringing it forward from a piece of flat metal to a two-dimensional shape. To finally quit on a project and to say it's finished and be happy with it is probably one of the harder things to do. You can always tweak it, you can always mess with it and refine it and detail it, and you can take it too far too, so you really need to know when it's done and call it quits and just be good with it. My favorite piece would probably be of my father, who passed away about 9 years ago, and him and my dog were the best friends, so I got a picture of the two of them together. It's in my office. To be an Indiana artisan means the world, because you have been chosen by your peers and people who know and understand art very well, and you have to be juried in. You have to submit your art. They have to judge it. They have to decide if you're good enough, and if you're good enough, you get the stamp of Indiana Artisan. So it means a great deal. That's a really, really good honor.
To see more examples of Chaz's work, visit his website, amstudio.us.
And Chaz isn't alone. For centuries, Indiana's craftsmen have utilized the state's finest natural resources.
On July 4th, 1800, the Indiana Territory was established, and the trading post turned bustling city of Vincennes became the first official capital. The territorial governor and future U.S. President William Henry Harrison established Vincennes as the gateway to the Wild West, building his home, Grouseland, and attracting accomplished craftsmen to the area.
The original Grouseland rifle was built by gunsmith John Small. He is an interesting character in Indiana history. He apprenticed at Fort Pitt around the age of 14, where he learned his skills as a gunsmith, came out to the Northwest Territory after American independence and established himself in Vincennes as a gunsmith, a tavern owner, militia captain, and had a variety of other occupations. John Small had a long-standing relationship with William Henry Harrison. Harrison named John Small in around 1800 as his adjutant general, and he served Harrison for about 12 years. He was quite an accomplished character, as well as being a gunmaker.
Small was also a talented artisan who designed what would later become the Indiana State Seal. In an effort to honor Small's multiple contributions to Indiana's history, lawmakers proposed a special bill in 2012.
House Bill 1283 just seemed like an appropriate bill for the pursuit of the appointment of the John Small rifle to be the official state rifle of Indiana, and then it was successful. Marvin Kemper was selected to make a faithful reproduction of the official rifle for the bicentennial. One reason was we wanted everything about the reproduction of the John Small rifle to relate to Indiana. It has Indiana wood, and Marvin Kemper is Indiana-born, a second-generation gunmaker. One thing that I think is interesting, John Small was an engraver, which is why the John Small rifles have so much engraving and detail on them. Marvin started out as being an engraver for his father when his father made rifles. It seems like there's a providential component to everything about the Harrison legacy, the John Small connection, Marvin being selected as the gunmaker for the reproduction.
Mr. Kemper spent about 2 months working up to 60 hours a week to faithfully reproduce the Grouseland rifle, using the same type of hand tools that Small used to make the original rifle, featuring elaborate pure silver and delicate brass inlays.
Dad was a full-time maker of Kentucky rifles for 50 years. He built his last rifle in the year 2000 at the age of 84, and he made over 3,000 rifles during that time period. He is considered by many to be the most prolific maker of Kentucky long rifles in our history, albeit a contemporary a maker of Kentucky rifles. So I grew up in that environment. I built my first gun when I was about 13. You know, now in my old age, I really appreciate the fact that he pushed me to do that and to give me the confidence that I could do it. But the thing that I really love about the gun making is that every gun is unique unto itself, and it's different from the start, and the outcome's going to be different from anything I did before. At the end of the gun building process, I engraved my name on the top of the barrel. 200 years from now, those rifles are still going to be around. Somebody's going to pick them up and it's going to say M. Kemper on there. It's that legacy aspect attached with the longevity and having that name, you know, set into steel, so to speak. I really love the connection of John Small, the history of Vincennes, William Henry Harrison, the Indiana Territory, being just up the road, and then being asked to do this. It just kind of brought it all home for me, and it was special in that regard because of the historical significance of it.
Marvin's skill in reproducing the Gralston rifle is quite extraordinary. He's got a great fidelity to the original design, and I'm sure that if John Small was looking down at this reproduction, he'd be proud to see this rifle continue in his legacy as the Gralston rifle and the bicentennial reproduction of that official state rifle.
Visit GrouselandFoundation.org to learn more about the rifle's history.
Truly one of Indiana's last pioneers, Gary Robertson has been mapping our cave systems for over 50 years. Hidden beneath the rolling hills of southern Indiana lies a vast system of underground rivers and caverns carved into Indiana's famous limestone, itself a 300-million-year-old relic of a prehistoric ocean. Drop by drop, over the last 2 million years, groundwater slowly eroded the limestone, forming the state's final frontier, where only the most adventurous Hoosiers dare to go.
When I was an 11-year-old Boy Scout, I went on my very first camping trip to a place called Cave River Valley, and we crawled into several caves that weekend, much to the dismay of our scoutmasters. That got me hooked on caves. You know, you felt like you were an explorer, like nobody had been there before. I remember when I was 16 years old, we had it planned the very first day that I got my license, we were going to go back to Cave River Valley. So I loaded up some guys from the neighborhood and we went cave exploring again.
Gary continued to explore caves with his friends throughout college, eventually forming the Indiana Speleological Survey in 1967, with the specific mission of mapping the Binkley Cave System. By 1969, almost 12 miles of the cave had been surveyed.
Before that, we were running around in different caves and surveying little caves. When I look at it, I just like things that you can really put a lot of time and effort into. I'm willing to take a risk and do things that a lot of people won't do. This cave played into it. It was a project.
The group's dedication to cave surveying led to a new career path, show cave development, after being invited to create the Squire Boone Show Cave in 1971. Just 2 years later, Gary took on a new project, the Marengo Cave National Landmark, where he led the cave's redevelopment and operation for nearly 40 years. But the success never deterred him from his beloved Binkley, and in 2001, he refocused his efforts, working on a book about the system and recruiting new explorers to the cave.
I've been exploring in this cave. Next year it'll be 50 years. I was really about the last person in the group who still wanted to go on a trip, but I didn't have anybody much to go with because the Binkley Cave is a really wet, muddy, cold cave. It's not a friendly cave. Most of it's not like the Indiana Caverns portion. But it just so happened I recruited a guy named Dave Everton from IU in Bloomington. He was a good cave photographer and I needed to take photographs for the book. Turns out he loved water and he loved crawling in water, so this cave was perfect for him. So he asked me, do you mind if I reopen this entrance? And pretty soon he had the project going again, and in just 4 or 5 years we doubled the length of the cave.
In 2012, after years of searching for a way to open the system to the public, surveyors found the link to make it possible. The newly discovered connection made Binkley the longest cave system in Indiana and the 7th longest in the country. The connection opened up into a massive cavern, now known as Big Bone Mountain, just 30 feet below the surface. Perfect for a public entrance and featuring elements like a 3-story waterfall and underground river.
Basically, we decided to develop Indiana Caverns in this part of Binkley's Cave in February the 12th of 2012, and we started the work on about May 28th. In addition to myself, one of the old ISS cavers, a guy named Terry Creighton, who's a good friend of mine, went to high school with me. I would never develop a cave, the physical part, without Terry, because I'm a business person. I can work hard, but I don't have the jackleg engineering skills that you need to make a cave work. You can't call a construction company to do this because they don't have any experience at it. You have to have somebody that can just kind of by the seat of the pants, without spending a lot of money, figure out how to do it. And that's the only thing that allowed Indiana Caverns to be developed. Boom, in less than 3 months we were blasted.
Together, the 4 friends built the entrance and infrastructure over 380 days during one of the hottest Indiana summers on record.
I mean, I will tell you, when we developed Indiana Caverns, I was in my mid-60s, and I knew if we were going to do it, we couldn't put it off, and it was a really hard year. Once you're in it, you're committed, and you just have to see your way through, and that's what we did. So we had to start from scratch. So when we built the visitor center, we just dug the hole for the basement. We made it so we could start blasting a ramp in the basement and that we would hit the cave. And then we had to go through a tunnel for about 40 feet of solid rock, and we came out in the top of a big room. And the thing was dangerous. I mean, it was, if you could ask Rand, he thought he was going to die lots of times. This thing was going to kill him. It was really hard work, but eventually we got in there.
The newly developed entrance allowed Indiana State Museum's senior paleontologist Ron Richards to examine the cave for the first time, where he made an extraordinary discovery: thousands of Ice Age bones dating back 50,000 years ago. Today, even though a fraction of the cave has been excavated, Binkley has the largest collection of bones ever discovered in Indiana. It is one of only 20 sites in the world to feature such biodiverse subterranean species.
He came down the ladder, and it comes right into where the Ice Age entrance was, and he'd been in the cave about 20 minutes, and he said, "Oh my God, I've never seen so many peccary bones." He said, "I've been working in this other cave for 25 years, and I've seen more bones here in 30 minutes than I've seen in 25 years. So that was really the first inkling we had of what we had. But we've only looked at maybe 1% of the bones in the cave, so we know we got a lot of bones, but we don't know, we may find something fabulous that we don't know about yet. We're pretty sure 100 years from now, or whenever, if the cavers keep going, that there'll be over 100 miles mapped in this cave at some point, which will make it one of the truly longest and great caves of the world. By having Indiana Caverns open to the public, we give people a chance to see what's underground. I think that'll make them more likely to take care of the resource.
Learn how you can explore the Binkley Cave System by visiting indianacaverns.com.
Our next musical guest gained international acclaim for their soulful sounds.
I always loved singing from the time I can remember.
I fell in love with music at a very young age too, and I started hanging out at the local music store and fiddling with guitar. Eventually traded my trombone for a guitar, and that was it. I've been doing it ever since.
I was lucky enough to meet Yank Rachel, who lived here in Indianapolis, who's really known for blues mandolin, and I played a little mandolin and thought, well, there's not many people who play blues mandolin. Maybe I should look into that.
I took a turn toward jazz more in the 70s I taught at this music store called Feelin's Music, and there was an atmosphere of jazz and jazz playing there, and I kind of caught the bug from that.
Well, I met Scott because he had the coolest vintage guitar shop in town. I always thought he was really cool and one of the best guitar players I'd ever heard. And that holds true today, too. He's still my favorite guitar player. In 2012, we actually got together and worked on some tunes, and it was fun, and we kept at it.
It was 4 years ago, almost right away when we started just practicing together, you know, playing some songs together. I noticed, and I think she noticed, a chemistry there, you know, and a level of musicianship that I don't think either of us were used to, having somebody so good at what they did, you know, to play with.
We just had a lot of styles in common, and so it's really a neat thing to be able to just call any tune or write any song in any style, and it comes together.
It had to do with the approach to music and the level of dedication and the level of evolution musically. How does our chemistry show when we're performing? I think it manifests itself in the fact that we both listen to what the other one is doing. And I think that's the essence of the chemistry. That's a great feeling when you do that and you both kind of go the same directions.
Another piece of the chemistry for me is that we both are joyful when the other one knocks a solo out of the park. We take a lot of joy in each other's gift.
It's just nice to be appreciated, and that kind of keeps us going. The better we get at it, the more we do it, the more people appreciate what we're doing, and it's kind of a non-vicious circle. The planets have to be just right to do a new tune for me. We kind of get close to the time when we're going to do a CD, and then we get to work.
Writing, I have a few half-baked things. Mine take a while to kind of gel. We write down little hooks, you know, when we're driving and stuff. But
we got notebooks full of those.
So when it's time, we'll get out the coffee and go, okay, let's at least write a song. When I first started, I thought success was getting paid to do a gig. And so once you do a few of those, that's good. And then we'll do a concert where people are really listening and paying attention, and everything's aligned, the sound's great, the venue's great, the audience is great, and then it's like, yeah, that's why we do it. It's definitely been a dream come true for me to be able to do this.
And now, Andra Faye and Scott Ballantine.
Your troubles, lay down them all. Lay down your worries, the big and the small. Lay down your body, give it some rest. Lay down your business, feather your nest. It's a new day. It's a new day. Lay down your bottle, lay down your pipe. Lay down your cell phone, let go of the hype. Lay down your burdens, lay down the law. Lay down your crutches and learn how to crawl. It's a new day. It's a new day. When the sun starts shining, go soak it in. When the sun starts shining, let it begin. It's a new day. It's a new day.
Cares.
Lay down your woes.
Lay down your defenses.
See how it goes.
Lay down your love.
Lay down your heart.
Lay down troubles and watch them depart. It's a new day.
It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day.
Get the latest listing of upcoming shows on their website, Andra Faye and ScottBallantine.com. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Good night.
Goodbye.
I sing a blue lullaby most every night. Count every star that I see, hoping there'll be another one shining bright. I sing a blue lullaby nearly every night. Count every star that I see.
Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.